Hello, this is Jason with MathTutorDVD.com, and today we're going to use the TI-89 calculator and learn how to use the features of this calculator to multiply and divide polynomials, which if any of you guys have done this by hand, you know that even pretty simple problems in multiplication and division of polynomials can get to be a real pain and just take a lot of steps with a lot of opportunity to make a mistake. So the fact that you can do this in your calculator and check your work is a huge advantage. Now what you need to do is go up here in the algebra menu with F2 and you'll see all these functions, some of which we've already talked about. Unfortunately, the names of some of these functions are really not great as far as describing what they do. So in order to multiply polynomials together, you would think there'd be a multiply function or a polymultiply or polynomial multiply or something. Well, there really isn't one. What you need to use is the expand function, number 3. And that's going to put expand on the stack. Now let me show you why it's called expand. If you wanted to, quote, expand a polynomial x plus 4, let's raise it to the power of 2. We'll close the parentheses off. What this is going to tell the calculator is that I want to take x plus 4 squared and basically do FOIL on it and collect all the terms. So when you hit enter, the TI-89 is going to do all of that. X plus 4 squared, which don't forget is x plus 4 times x plus 4. And you'll have to do FOIL and multiply all the terms together and collect all the results, and this is what you'll get. So this is the kind of thing that's pretty easy to do by hand. I mean, you can do this. Everybody taking algebra knows how to do this and multiply these simple things. But things get to be a little bit more difficult whenever you maybe go to a higher power, x plus 4 to the third power, because that would be x plus 4 times x plus 4 times x plus 4. Well, the calculator handles that no problem. It'll stick all the terms there, x cubed, 12x squared, 48x, 64. You might think, well, I can still multiply these by hand. True, but I think any of us would have a hard time when you raise it to the 10th power. And let's get crazy. Let's make this x to the second power inside plus 4 times x minus 7. So we have a large polynomial in there. We're going to raise the thing to the 10th power. Now, even I would have a huge problem trying to do this by hand. It's just so many opportunities for mistakes. But the TI-89, just give it a second, and you see how fast it came up with the answer. X to the 20th, 40x to the 19th, 650x to the 18th. The arrow means the answer goes off the screen, but you can keep scrolling. 5160x to the 17th, and so on. You have a lot of terms here. I'm not going to go through them all. But that is the reason why it's called the expand function, because typically what you're putting in here is a polynomial, raising it to a power, and basically you're doing a polynomial expansion, which is doing all of this multiplication. Let me clear this stuff off and tell you, though, that we'll go into the algebra menu, hit number 3 for expand. It doesn't have to be written in that form. You might have x plus 4 multiplied by x minus 7. So this is not squared or anything, it's just two little polynomials multiplied together. And of course I forgot a parentheses, let me stick a closing parentheses on that. The TI-89 can handle that no problem. It's doing FOIL, same thing you would do by hand. You might say, well, I can do that. True. Well, let's make it harder. Let's raise this one to the power of 2. And let's go in here and make this, instead of x minus 7, let's make it x to the 4th minus 7. And let's stick a third term out here. We'll call that one x to the 5th plus 1. And on the outside, let's just go crazy and square that. So you have a lot of polynomials here. X to the 5th plus 1 squared that times x to the 4th minus 7 times whatever we had over here. It might take the calculator a minute or so. We'll see how fast that was. X to the 16th plus 8x to the 15th plus 6x to the 14th and so on. You could go on and scroll through. But this is a complicated expression to multiply. I mean, you have to blow this stuff up and blow this stuff and then multiply all the cross terms and simplify. It's a real pain. The calculator can handle all the symbolic algebra really without a problem. Let me show you one more thing. Go into number 3 for expand. They don't have to be the same variable. Let's say you have, let's go crazy. A squared minus 2, and you want to multiply that times, let's do b plus 4, and you're going to multiply that times, open another one up, t to the 4th minus 4. So you have different variables, a, b, and t. Hit enter. And of course I missed something here. And what I missed, if you look over here, I forgot to put an opening parentheses over here. Because the function, the expand function, gives us an open parentheses, but I actually need another one because this little guy is in a term, and then the second little guy is inside of its own parentheses, and then the third term over here is in its own set of parentheses. So let's go ahead and enter again, and you see it's going to handle that with no problem. A squared times b times t to the fourth power plus 4a squared t to the fourth, and on and on. There's a lot of terms here. You could go and write them all down, but this is a very complicated thing to multiply together. There's lots of variables, lots of numbers, lots of exponents, lots of chance to make mistakes. The TI-89 can handle that great. So if you're multiplying polynomials or expanding, doing FOIL, not really sure how to do it, you can certainly work it out in your paper. You have to show your steps for your test. But being able to check your answer in a bulletproof way is a huge feature of this calculator. All right, let me clear that out. That's about all I want to say about the expand function. That's how to multiply polynomials. Now, what this function is, prop frac, it divides polynomials. And if any of you have done polynomial division, it's a real pain. It's not difficult, it's just so many steps involved that it's very likely you'll probably make an error. So you really need to work slowly and carefully and check your work. Now, what I want to do is put number 7 on the stack, prop frac. And by the way, it's a terribly named function. I'm not really sure why they named it this. I could probably go figure it out and tell you, but you know, you would think they would name it polynomial division or something like that, but it's prop frac. It's just not a great thing to name something. Let me show you how this function works by way of example. Actually, let me go ahead and take that off first. Let's say we take the fraction 9 divided by 7, and we put that on the stack. And let's say we make that into a decimal. So 9 divided by 7 is 1.28571. Of course, there's more decimals, but the display is truncated here. Now, if we go into prop frac, it's really used for polynomials, but I can demonstrate how it works by putting a very easy fraction in. If you put 9/7 in here, don't forget what division really is. Now, I want you to think back to 4th grade for a second. When you take the number 9 and divide by 7, what you really know is that 7 can go one time into 9. The remainder, remember remainder back from 4th grade, 5th grade? The remainder is 2. Because 7 can go once with 2 left over, right? But when you write it down as a sort of like to calculate a decimal, you in 4th grade you write it as it can go one time, remainder of 2. But the way the calculator is going to write it, and the mathematically I think more correct way to write it, is the following. You write it as 7 can go into 9 one time plus remainder of 2 divided by 7. The reason it's divided by 7 is because we divided by 7 to begin with. So to make yourself understand this, let's go ahead and convert this to a decimal. This is 1 plus 0.28714. And if we go and put this on the stack and evaluate it, look at what we have, 1.28571. It's exactly the same as what we got when we just divided the silly things together. The calculator and doing long division takes care of this stuff automatically, but so we get the same answer. But when you do long division by hand and get a remainder, the proper way to express the remainder is whatever the remainder is divided by what you were dividing out of, because effectively what you've done is you've said, okay, the number 7 can go in only one time with only 2 out of 7 really left over. And this is where the decimal point comes from. 2 divided by 7 is what yields this. So that's back from your 4th grade math. Now, when you do, and we can do another one real quick. I mean, that's fine, just to kind of give you a little bit something more to deal with. Let's put 10, and let's make it let's make it easy. Let's make it 9. 10 divided by 9. You know it can only go one time, right? But the calculator is going to write it as one time plus a remainder of 1/9. The remainder is 1, yes, because 10 minus 9 is 1, but we always express it as a fraction, 1/9, because that's really how many more times it can go in. It can't go 2 times in. It can only go 1/9 additional time in. If we take this guy, I'm probably beating this to death a little bit here. If we take and we make this, instead of divided by 9, if we make it divided by, let's do 3, then 3 can go in 3 times with a remainder of 1, because 3 times 3 is 9, and 10 minus 9 is 1, but we express it as a fraction, 1/3. So it couldn't go in 4 times, it could go 3 1/3 times. So when you get that remainder, we always express it in terms of a fraction relative to what we were dividing into, or dividing by, I should say. All right, and this is the numbers that you always get when you express them as a decimal, what your calculator would show you. So when you do polynomial division in this calculator and use prop frac number 7, then you're going to get it expressed in the same way, and that's the reason why I showed you that. So if you want to put a polynomial in here, let's do x squared minus 4. That's a polynomial. And I want to divide it by something, so I'm going to put this here. Let's go ahead and divide it by x minus 1 and close it off. So this is the kind of thing you would do by hand. X squared minus 4 divided by x minus 1. There are a lot of steps involved, and you're probably going to get a remainder and all of that stuff. So what we have here is the following, and you got to use your imagination a little bit. The calculator has returned the following. When it does this division, it gets x plus 1 as sort of the main answer. The remainder is over here. The remainder we got was -3, but we expressed it as a fraction over x minus 1 because that's what we were dividing by. It's exactly the same thing when we had the numbers. The remainder was divided by what we were dividing by. So this is why the remainder is expressed this way, and this is the full answer. So when you do these things, a lot of times you're going to get a fraction. You're going to get some stuff plus a fraction. The fraction is going to be the remainder. This stuff out front is the whole number of times this guy could divide in. We'll do another example. Let's change it to minus x plus 4, and instead of doing this, we'll divide by x plus 2. So let me take that one out. So that's what we're going to have. Let it think for a second. You see the same thing happens. We get some stuff and we're adding to it a fraction. So this is the general answer. This is the remainder. This is how many total times this can be divided in, x minus 3 times. The remainder was 10, and we always had to express it as a fraction over what we divided by because that's what's left over. That's sort of the fractional part left over, quote unquote, behind the decimal point when you're talking about numbers, but when you're talking about variables, you can't really do that, so you leave it as a fraction. All right. Now, if something can go a whole number of times, like let's take this whole complicated thing out, and let's just divide it by x, and let's see what we get. When we get that, we're going to, well, this was a case where you couldn't divide a whole number of times. We get x minus 1 is the total number of times it can divide in. The remainder was 4, and we divided it by x because that was our remainder there. Let me give you one that I know is not going to have a remainder. Let's do, let me take this out. Let's do x squared minus x. I happen to know that I can divide this nicely, so let me go ahead and hit this guy. What we're going to get is x squared minus x divided by x. Notice there's no fraction here. The reason there's no fraction is because there's no remainder. There's no fractional thing to put because it's like dividing, 10 divided by 2. There's no fraction there. You just get the answer of 5. So there's no fraction here. That means that this guy could divide, quote unquote, a whole number of times into this guy. The answer you get was x minus 1. You can convince yourself of that because if you take x and multiply by the answer x minus 1, you're going to get this. X times x is x squared. X times -1 is negative x. So it divides a whole number of times. So that's a good introduction to prop frac. It's a very, very useful thing if you're doing a lot of long division with polynomials. And you can make this thing as complicated as you want. You can make it, let's do plus x to the 4th right here. And let's divide by, open up a parentheses, let's divide by x squared, plus 4. So we've got a more complicated looking polynomial here, and we've got a more complicated polynomial we're dividing by. We hit enter, and you see that the answer that we get, the whole number of times it can go in, is this guy, x squared minus 3. The remainder is kind of large. You got this term here on top of our fractional denominator here. So this term right here is the remainder. So I'm hoping that by showing you a few examples, you won't get too worried about when you see the answer here. You'll know what the sort of the whole number of times it can go in is and what the fractional remainder is left over. It's no different than if you take something like, we go in here. It's no different numerically than if we come in here and divide by, let's do 15 divided by 9 or something like that. The answer we're going to get is it can go one time with 2/3 left over. Now notice that in this case it gave you 2/3 because it's basically taking the answer you get when you divide 9 into this guy. It can go one time. The actual remainder is 6. 6 divided by 9 though. 6 divided by 9 can be reduced to 2/3. But in general, if you don't have any nice reduction like that, like if you put let's put 4 in there or something like that, then what you're going to get is 15 divided by 4. It can go 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. The difference there is 3/4, so that's what the answer is, because the remainder is 3. So when you look at it in terms of numbers, I think you can understand what's going on. You can apply the same exact logic to all of these polynomial answers to understand exactly what it's doing when you use prop frac. So the expand function, use it to multiply polynomials or expand polynomials that are raised to a power. Prop frac, use it when you're dividing polynomials, checking your work on long polynomial division. Huge, huge time saver in algebra.